Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. My name is Garrett Hartle. This is Reptile Reptiles. And right now, we're gonna talk up one of the guys in the industry that needs no introduction, the famous Scott Hollabaugh, good buddy of mine and a neighbor. So he came over and goofed around with us a little bit the other day. I hope you guys like this one. I feel like I should be sitting in a phone book here. All right.
I'm gonna shrink down.
Yeah, that would be better. Okay, that helps your belly look bigger than mine too. I only look good by comparison.
It is. It's too much cinnamon bread.
Hey, scoot your chair over this way a little more. And we'll bring it in even a little. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's recording. This is on the permanent record. See, hey, matching shirts.
Sort of. I have color.
I feel bad now.
Hey, this is the world's first.
I have those two that everyone always wants to buy. Alright, enough of those shenanigans. Okay, so everybody, we got Scott Hollabaugh here. So why don't you spell this for us? We'll put it on the screen here.
It's Hollabaugh.
Hollabaugh. All right, guys. So I'm here in the basement, getting very cozy with Miss Scott Hollabaugh here. And I've been trying to get this guy. It's funny, he lives how far from my house? 20 minutes?
35 minutes with lights.
30 minutes from the house. And I've been trying to get him down here to do a Talk 'em Up Tuesday for ever.
Months.
And yeah, and it's easier for me to get a hold of somebody like in Scotland or whatever to do one of these things. All right, so here's question number one. How do we actually know each other?
So, you know, I've been in the reptile world for a few years, and I was never much into retics, but then I bought my first retic at a local show here, who is the mascot of my company, Strudel, who happens to be an 11-foot lavender albino. Garrett, at the time, happened to work for Prehistoric Pets out on the other side of the United States in California, and they did one of their sales, and they had a het AML super dwarf. And I contacted Garrett, and he didn't know me, I didn't know him at the time, and told me a little bit about the super dwarf gene, and I didn't ask a lot of questions. I asked a couple of key questions, and he gave me the right answers, and so I bought my first super dwarf from Garrett at Prehistoric Pets.
Super dwarfs for the win.
So, where the story gets to be the best part is, though, something drastic happened to my super dwarf. And his name was Mr. Belvedere, and he passed away within a couple of months.
I don't know why that's the best part of the story.
Well, here's why. Because Garrett, not knowing me from anybody else and not doing a whole lot of business with me, I called Garrett because I was concerned. I don't know what happened.
I do remember this call.
And it was late for me, but early for him because, you know, the 3-hour time difference, it was like 1 here, but it was like 11 there, and I called Garrett in a panic.
I think it was like 5 a.m., but go ahead.
All right, maybe it was. I'm up at a lot of different hours. Anyways, I called him, and it was late, and I was, you know, upset, and I had no idea what happened, and Garrett said, you know what? He said, I really want to help you out. So, Garrett shipped out the second snake to me for the cost of shipping, and that snake, you know, we lived together happily. That's how Garrett and I really became to know one another. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I hear Garrett's moving to Gibsonia.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, but Gibsonia.
Snootyville in Pittsburgh.
Believe it or not, Garrett was in Pittsburgh for almost three years before I made it to Garrett's house to visit him.
Because he is half an hour away.
A half an hour away.
It probably would have been easier to get him to fly out and see me when I was working at Prehistoric Pets.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are you a retic guy? What would you consider for everybody? Like, what is your reptile specialty?
So, I do have some retics. They're like Pringles. They're like they're addictive. You know, you open a can of Pringles and you start with 2 chips, and the next thing you know, all you have left is crumbs. And right, I'm a collector of things that I like. I own probably at least 20 species of snakes. I've got some real oddballs, like I've got an awesome female Macklot's python, but you know, I've got balls, I've got boas, some blood pythons, I've got an awesome false water cobra named Fiona who does all my reptile shows with me for kids. I've got Kenyan sand boas, I've got western hognose.
Well, the cool thing is, like, so as he's listing off now, if you guys just watched my last video, it's about focusing. You know what I mean, what that focus is. And I talked about how I'm getting rid of some of those exact species that he just mentioned so that I can focus on the super dwarfs. But what's cool is Scott's making it work for him in a completely different way. Share with us how you use that menagerie of different reptiles.
A couple years ago, I decided that I wanted to do something where I could work with kids and I could also help support my collection and feeding and housing. And so I started to go out and do some shows locally with different community days, birthday parties, Boy Scouts, Girl Scout troops, schools, libraries.
That's really cool too, because just I think a lot of you that have reptiles can probably relate. You get asked to do stuff. Like my kids are in school now, and school will ask me to come down and like share some animals with them. I'm like, I have a whole bunch of the exact same kind of snake, different colors, but it's like, here's a retic, here's a retic, here's a retic. None of them are very big.
And that's mainly the biggest reason that I do the diverse collection of snakes, is so that I can use them to work with kids and groups.
It actually encourages you to get, well, you're taking a snake home. He's helping me focus as he focuses right now.
So this girl here, she's in shed, so she is
not even going to be able to get the whole thing in the frame.
Possibly going to lose some skin while we're on camera here as she's shedding.
For those of you guys that are always like, oh, I want a 6-foot retic, you know, and I say, well, that's the size of a corn snake. They're like, oh, that's too small. I don't know what you were thinking, because here's a 6-foot corn snake. I mean, this is probably actually not 6 foot, but I don't know. It might be close. It's a big corn snake. You know, that is super dwarf size if you're going for the small super dwarfs. She's
going to have a new life, new shows. So she'll have a good life.
So let me ask you this. Next question. Most favorite and least favorite part about the reptile industry? And you can kind of take that to mean whatever you want.
So it's kind of funny because they both kind of go hand in hand. My favorite part of the reptile industry is just traveling to meet reptile people in different places and different collections and seeing what other people are doing. I learn things from them. The camaraderie, the friendships that I've built around reptiles are some of my best friendships, some of my closest friendships, and I've met a lot of great people. At the same time, on the double-edged sword, the flip side, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of, let's bash this person for whatever reason. Let's pull this person and call them out over something that's simple and maybe really isn't that big of a deal, but they blow it out of proportion.
Don't do that, guys.
Yeah, you know, they're all reptiles. We're reptile people. If you're not a reptile person, you're not going to own a reptile. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is for all of us to work together, to get along, to, you know, be more unified. Because, you know, we're all in this for the same reason. We love reptiles. Then we should all just, you know, work together. So the biggest thing I definitely don't like is the drama.
Especially when it's unnecessary. Just,
right.
There's no reason for that, you know.
And hopefully you can resolve your issues without having to throw them under the proverbial bus.
Very cool. Thank you. All right, so this next question, I always like to do a little bit of an icebreaker type of a question that's just totally random.
An icebreaker with this guy. Look at it.
So we get to know each other a little better. Anyway, so they can get to know you a little bit better.
Garrett knows me well, trust me. He wears my shoes.
Too well.
He likes my shirt.
I do.
You see?
I walk out of his house wearing his shoes and one of his shirts, and it's kind of like another type of a situation where that happens, but it wasn't that type of situation. Anyway, okay, icebreaker question. This is the one I have. So this is funny. You've had a couple of different jobs since I've known you. Obviously, you have a lot of diverse interests and stuff. So I thought this was a perfect one for you. You ready?
Bring it.
Okay. If you could have your absolute dream job, You know what I mean? What would it be?
I would love to have my own, I guess you would say, zoo. Very specific zoo.
That's your dream job.
It is.
We've talked about that. We should just make that happen. I didn't realize that was your dream.
If I could work with animals and children on a regular basis and be able to support my life, to support what I need, to pay my bills, to live comfortably, I would love nothing more than to work with animals and children. And I say children and animals because just to make it short and sweet, growing up, rough childhood, rough life. I've always wanted to be able to give back to children in some way. That's really how I got to where I'm at now, doing the shows that I do and working with the children. Are we live?
We are recording.
Okay. We're peeling a snake together.
So, last question. How can people reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you? Maybe they're in the area, they want to party, or they're out of the area, and they want some bread?
Ooh, perfect, yeah. All right, so a couple ways you can get a hold of me. I have a brand new email, Iceman Reptiles 23 at yahoo.com.
What's the 23 stand for?
Well, I am a huge Jordan fan. However, the 23, yes. But it's very important. I wear 23 around my neck every day. It's on my leg. Big tattoo, Bulls fan. But the 23 has worked for me as a lucky number many times. So I do stick by it. But so it was Iceman Reptiles 23 at yahoo.com. I do have a Facebook page, Iceman Reptiles. I upload tons of pictures, thousands of pictures. I have albums from some of my parties I've done, different places I've been to, different collections, lots of videos, pictures. And then, of course, if you want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to shoot me a text, 412-519-8823.
412?
The 412, baby. Yep. Believe it or not, at a reptile show, you can follow your nose to my booth. The cinnamon is so strong that you can smell me as soon as you walk in the front door.
Occasionally, I bring a few adults on display, too, so sometimes you can follow your nose to my booth, too.
That is true. Retic, yeah, it travels as well. So.
Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. You know, again, these Talk 'em Up Tuesdays are really just for, you know, me. I've done a lot of networking, been like kind of on the inside of the reptile industry for a long time. And it's really just to introduce you to some of the good folks that are on there. So Scott's definitely one of those. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on Friday for your free tip.
Yeah, for the love of the hobby, man. Everybody out there, hashtag for the love of the hobby.
Peace out from the 412. All right, everybody, it is time to find yourself on the filing cabinet. Now, I've got a sticker collection here. If you want to see your sticker on my cabinet, then just shoot one to the address that I have in the description below. But this week, we're actually going to talk about Iceman Reptiles, which is right down here. We got a new sticker from Scott when he came over. And
hey, Garrett, how you doing, buddy?
Scott Hollabaugh.